Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Friday, December the 19th. Overall markets end up bouncing nicely off our Tuesday's lows, really just kind of back in between its previous day's range. So a little bit of an inside bar day here for the major indices. SPY end up gravitating up and towards our previous day highs, but a little bit of reaction currently kind of right in between the middle of the range coming into a Friday. We have a couple gaps on the charts, at least for today. We do have quad witching as well, which is the major expiration for all asset classes. That's something to keep in mind. As for the rest of the names, not too much going on here, kind of coming into the end of week. We do have holiday season coming up as well, with Christmas next week, market holiday. And then, of course, the week after, we have another market holiday as well. So, really coming into this week, coming into the rest of the day, and then of course next week as well. We'll see what shapes up here for the overall markets before we head on to the charts. Good morning, everyone. What's up? Non Tolly, good morning. Cody 50, Ryan, good morning. Cinna, good morning, everyone. Nay, Robert, Andreas, Vade, good morning. Big, Solo, Gerald, good morning, everyone. Christmas schedule. No, it's just gonna run as normal. I am gonna be traveling, so at least the pre-market preps are still gonna be intact, right? The live sessions, everything's still fine. I'm probably gonna be on lighter size just because of the holiday season, historically speaking. A little bit lower volume, less clear direction in the market. It's kind of similar this week. There's been a couple nice opportunities, but overall, the volatility has been a little bit less. We've had some nice trading opportunities the past couple of sessions, but overall, December lower volume for sure. And the spine Q is still kind of inside of this range that we do have. All right, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's head on to the charts. We'll start off on the major indices, and then we'll head on to some tech names here. So let's go on to the ES. So really coming into today for the overall markets, key levels that we're going to have marked out, exact same levels. We haven't changed them really all week now. Key level that we have marked out, Tuesday's lows. And then we're going to also mark out a couple of key pivot levels from yesterday, which is essentially your previous day highs, and also your Wednesday's high here as well. So for the ES coming into today, as you can see, multiple touches really off this Tuesday's lows. You can see this level is being defended. So moving forward, or at least coming into today, if you do want to see some upside, it's still going to be the hold of your Tuesday's lows for this reversal kind of back higher. Currently, we are going to be inside of its previous day's range. So if we're looking at the past 2 days worth of price action, what we can have marked out here is your Wednesday's key levels. We have your your Thursday's key levels marked out. And then coming into today here, we're kind of opening up right around your Tuesday's lows. So if you want to see upside, really maintain above your Tuesday's lows for any sort of push higher, or now it's going to be at least a minimum above your pre-market high for potential move towards the upside. If we do break underneath that Tuesday's lows, so if we break underneath that Tuesday's lows, we have a gap fill towards the downside, and we do have a little bit more room lower. So for the overall markets, I'm fairly neutral coming into today. But if we can break underneath that 68.20, we do have this gap fill towards the downside, which I wouldn't be surprised if the market does want to gravitate underneath that. If we do get underneath, as I mentioned, that 68.20. So for the levels, as I mentioned, this is going to be key coming into today. So let's keep an eye out on that. As for the SPY chart, similar thesis here, key levels that I have marked out, previous day highs, where you can see we have multiple touches. And then we also have your Tuesday's lows marked out as well, which you can see defended fairly nicely yesterday. So for the overall markets coming into today, similar thesis. If we can maintain above your 673, we can see this mean reversion back towards the upside. Or now this is really kind of the only long scenario I see. Of course, if we break above your previous day highs hold, then we could be looking for a continuation higher here as well. But the overall markets, they're kind of staying heavy. Every pop has been shorted. If we can get underneath 673, we can see this push down in towards this close that we have from Wednesday. So I'm going to be a little bit more cautious, at least right off the bat. I'm going to wait for the first kind of 15 to 30 minutes to develop. As I mentioned, we do have this potential gap fill lower, which is from your Wednesday's key level. So as I mentioned, this is in play underneath your previous day's low. If we maintain above your previous day lows, then expect it to be a little bit more neutral here in the overall indices. So that's what we have for the SPY coming into market open. Just mark out these two key levels that we have today. As for the NQ, similar thesis here for the NQ key levels that we have marked out Tuesday's lows as well, along with our previous day highs. So basically this Tuesday's lows, really strong buyers stepped in yesterday, just kind of push this back up and towards your key levels above. So for the NQ today, similar thesis, just mark out our Tuesday's lows, and now we can mark out our previous day highs. If you want to see any sort of continued push higher, break above your previous day highs for any push towards the upside, or now it's going to be the bounce play off of our Tuesday's lows for this continued push back towards the upside. So these are the two main levels that we have for the NQ coming into market open. As I mentioned, I am only going to lean more towards the downside if we are underneath your previous day lows along with your Tuesday's lows. 25,200. If we can get underneath, as I mentioned, we do have this gap fill towards the downside, but that is only valid for me underneath your previous day lows. If you go into the QQQ, similar kind of thesis here. Key level that we have, Tuesday's lows marked out, along with your previous day highs or this general area. If we want to see some downside, only valid underneath your previous day lows for continuation. Of course, this potential kind of pop and fade is in play towards the downside as well, but I'd much rather see price underneath your previous day lows for this push down in towards your previous day close. Overall, markets fairly neutral coming into market open so far. Upside is going to be above your 612, essentially this previous day highs. And then we also have the bounce play off your 607 for this continued push back towards the upside here as well. So these are the two levels that I have for the QQQ coming to market open, along with the rest of the indices as well. So we'll just mark those out coming into today. Let me pull this up here as well. We had CPI yesterday, which affected the market a decent amount. That's why we end up having this nice push in the pre-market, and then in the market hours as well. We kind of had this relief bounce. At least coming into today, we don't have any sort of red folder news. The next major red folder news event that we have is actually not going to be for a while, but at least for today, we do have revised consumer sentiment. I don't expect this to affect the market as much, but something to keep in mind at 10 a.m., only an orange folder news event. And then you can see really next week with the holiday season, not too much red folder news. And then the week after, similar thing. You can just kind of look at the red folder news events. We have holiday season coming up. So Thursday is going to be a market holiday. And then normally speaking, Friday, lower volume day. So you want to be a little bit more cautious on Friday. So basically Thursday, no trade day. And then Friday, you want to be very cautious, even if you do come to the screens. I usually mention, take this day off. And then similar thing on the week after, Thursday, market holiday once again. And then Friday, lower volume day. Similar thesis, You can even take the day off if you want on the Friday. So really holiday season coming up, which is right around the corner. Let's go on to now the tech names that we have coming into today. So if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. I'm gonna grab some water here as well. All right, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over here now, you guys can drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. Okay, let's go on to Tesla number one. So Tesla number one, this one, if we're looking at this week's price action, we're neutral, but of course the higher time frame is still bullish. Key levels that I have marked out is your previous all-time highs, which is this 488. So this is a higher time frame key level, as you can see, back from 1 year ago. We're going to have to close above that level here on the daily time frame if you want to see any sort of push back towards the upside. So for Tesla, coming into today, as you can see, we basically had an inside bar day yesterday, kind of in between its range that we created here on Wednesday. If you want to see a push higher, it's going to have to be above your 490. Break above your 490, we can see a push up and towards your 495 and above. So for today, key levels that we're going to have marked out, 490 as I mentioned. Break above here, we can see continuation 495 and potentially above. If we reject, we're just going to come right back down in between the range that we have created. So this is what we have for Tesla coming into today. Just keep an eye out on your 490. That's going to be key. As for some other tickers that we have, NVIDIA, along with the rest of the semis. So NVIDIA, the key level that we have marked out is really this 175 last week's lows. Kind of came up into it yesterday right off the bat. Nice little rejection, but ultimately kind of just consolidated here in between its previous day's range again. Now coming into today, key levels that we're going to have marked out, 175, we're going to have our 176.50 along with our 178. So for NVIDIA, I'm not that bullish on this name. We're now just kind of right back in between this period of consolidation. So any trades in here, you can see how choppy it was, right? Earlier into the week, a lot of chop in it, a lot of choppiness kind of right in between your 178 along with your 175. I would be very cautious. So right here, I'll be very cautious in this zone. I personally don't want to be trading NVIDIA in between this level, in between your 178 along with your 175. So that's what I have for this ticker coming into today. Really not too much to talk about. As I mentioned, I'm not that interested in trading in between these levels. You can see there's just not going to be a clear direction in my opinion, and we're now kind of just in between this consolidation period. So if you're looking for any sort of potential day trades, potential kind of bounce off your previous day close, 175, or maybe the reclaim back above your 177, pop and fade is in play, or now it'd just be underneath your 175 for a continuation lower. But those are the key levels I have marked out coming to market open. Now let's go on to AMD. AMD, this one higher time frame, as you can see, still maintaining structure towards the downside. Break, retest, break, retest, and continuation lower. So for AMD, coming into market open, you can see nice kind of rejection right off our 206. And we end up coming towards the downside yesterday. We do have a little bit more room down in towards our previous day close, but we do have an inside bar day. If we're looking at this, right, Thursday's day was in between your Wednesday's range. Now coming into today here for AMD, exact same levels, 205.50. We also have your 201. If you want to see a potential bounce play, right, bounce off your 201.50 or longs above your 205. Break underneath your 201.50, potential continuation down in towards your 198. So this is what we have for AMD coming to market open. Keep an eye out on your 201 along with your 205. Kind of similar game plan to NVIDIA. This one still in a little bit more of a downtrend based off the higher time frames. Let's go on to Apple. Apple, let's go on to the higher time frames here. So as you can see, push towards the downside, kind of right in between this consolidation period. Actually pretty big lower wick yesterday. Some buyers kind of stepping up, at least right off the bat. Now for Apple moving forward, key level 273, maintain underneath your 273. I'm still leaning more towards the downside. Reclaim back above, we can see this push back up and towards your previous day highs and above. So this is what we have for Apple coming into market open. Next levels above is going to be that 276, which is actually very far away. But key level today, keep an eye out on your 272 here on this ticker. As for a few other names, Google, nice kind of mean reversion. Now we're back right at this 305 key level here, which is your previous day highs, multiple touches here. If you want to see some upside above your 305 for continuation, if we reject, we're going to see a push lower. Now it's going to be underneath your 303 for a push towards the downside. Meta, this one actually showing a decent amount of strength. So this is something we can keep an eye out on. Higher time frames, kind of building up these higher lows. I kind of talked about this V-shape or this W-shape recovery that we've had. So for Meta, we're building up these higher lows fairly nicely now. Key levels we're going to mark out here is your 660. This is your Tuesday's highs along with your Wednesday's highs. So what I'd like to see here now is a hold of your 660. If you can maintain above this level, we can see this nice continued push back up and towards your previous day highs. Another possible scenario above your pre-market high for a continuation higher. This will be invalidated if we break back underneath and hold underneath this 660. So this is what we have coming into today for Meta. As for Amazon, not really too much to talk about on this ticker. Key level 225 along with this 229. That's going to be key here for the overall markets. 225.50 along with this 229. Nice touches yesterday. Microsoft, we have your 484. But overall, you can see just a lot of consolidation here on the hourly chart. Netflix, now we're also consolidating here as well. So really coming into today here for the major indices, we're just going to keep an eye out on the exact same levels as yesterday, 611.50 along with your previous day lows. SPY, similar thesis, 673 along with our 678. We do have quad witching at the end of, we do have quad witching today. So I do expect a little bit of rebalancing and some volatility at the very end of market open. But generally speaking, with quad witching, there's usually no clear direction on the markets. And there's just a decent amount of volatility, but there's just no clear direction. Okay, let me go over some other names here as well. So if you guys do have any tickers or any charts, I'll go over them for the next kind of 5 to 10 minutes here. And then I am going to get ready for market open. So if you guys do have any charts, you guys can now drop them in the chat. Yeah, if you guys do have any tickers or any charts, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. There's quad witching today. So overall markets, if you guys don't know what quad witching is, a major expiration on a bunch of asset classes, options, right, futures, a bunch of different asset classes. So there's going to be a lot of volatility in the markets, at least at the very end of day, like within the last 30 minutes to an hour. There's usually some pretty big moves in the markets. But as I mentioned, it has to do with rebalancing since really major expirations are expiring today. Let's see what else. Next Wednesday should be lower volume. Basically, this whole month, lower volume. You can see if you're comparing this month to November or even the month before, a lot lower volume across the board. And that just has to do with the holiday season coming into end of year as well. Generally speaking, December, a little bit of a lower volume month. Usually we have kind of these slow grinds back towards the upside with Christmas rally, but even then it's just slow grinds, not really optimal for day trades just because we have no volatility. So really there's been lower volume the past couple of weeks. I don't expect kind of the volatility to pick up unless we have some sort of crazy news event, just because holiday season, you're already going to be on lighter size, right? Thursday next week, a market holiday, Friday lower volume, and then the week after, right, similar thesis. So I expect kind of the low volume for the next 2 weeks. If you want to trade, trade on lower size. If there's any sort of good setups, stay at the screens for about first kind of 30 minutes to 90 minutes to see if there's any sort of setups. If not, right, just kind of call it a day. You don't really want to trade during this holiday season as well. I do expect the markets to start picking back up closer in the New Year's and then in January as well. Okay. Yeah, I definitely don't spam the chat. Let's see. Let's go on to MU. All right, let's go on to MU here. So we had some nice earnings yesterday that pushed markets towards the upside. Key levels that we have marked out was our all-time highs. And you can see nice rejection on MU. Some profit taking right at your all-time highs, and then continuation back towards the low of the range, which is your 248. Now you can see really not too much to talk about here. So we have a pretty big gap up. Now we just have your earnings day here as well. Key levels that we're going to have marked out 248 along with our 258. Opening up in between the middle of the range. So we would like to see the bounce off your 249 or the break above your 258 for continuation higher. As for MU, this one really holding up, especially a bunch of these semiconductors, which was nice to see. And now we'll just be a little bit more patient, but we already hit one of your main objectives, which was our all-time high. So that's what we have here. As for AVGO, nice little bounce yesterday, kind of right in towards our 336. A little bit of rejection off that level, and now you can see right towards the downside. Not really too much to talk about. So key level still is going to be this 336 moving forward. If you want to continue higher, break above your 336, rejection, we're going to see a push right back towards the downside. So that's what we have for AVGO coming into today. SoFi, the rest of the names, a little bit more consolidation. Hood, similar thesis here as well. Palantir, nice bounce yesterday on Palantir. Key levels, I still like this one. Of course, as you can see, it is ranging. Not really clear direction. Higher time frames, we're still going to need to see that break above your 190. The break above your 190 is going to be key for any sort of continued push towards upside. So that's what we have here for Palantir. Let me go over IWM. A jack in drawdown, despite following my rules, what we suggest, since I'm aiming to be green, aiming to end off the month green or break even. Well, if that's the case, right, you've been following your rules. It's just a part of trading, right? The fact that you're have the mindset of you want to be green, yes, of course you'd want to be green or break even on the month, but as long as the setups present themselves, you can take them. If there's nothing, then right, you're not going to force setups trying to be green or break even. So expecting coming into the end of year, there's not going to be as much opportunity just because, as I mentioned, lower volume plus holiday season. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult if you're in some drawdown coming into the next couple of weeks. So just be on lighter sides and be a little bit more cautious. As I mentioned, if the setups do present themselves, then you could be looking. Then you can look to take them. As for IWM, key levels that we have marked out, 249 along with this 251. Break above your key levels for continuation higher. Potential bounce play off your 249.50 for this continuation towards the upside. So not really too much to talk about here on IWM. The exact same levels here as before. Let's go on to some other names. Let's see. Let me scroll up here. Let me go over gold. These ultimately gold and silver have been some of the nicest movers towards the upside. Higher time frame trends very much intact. These ones look super solid. Gravitated up and towards our all-time highs yesterday, or very close to it. And now you can see right gold, a little bit of reaction kind of right off our all-time highs key pivot level, and a little bit of rejection. So now for gold, higher time frame, still very much bullish. We'd like to see break above now your previous day highs for this continued push towards the upside. So that's what we have moving forward. If we're looking at this on the daily chart, nothing's changed, right? We've been talking about the higher lows being built as long as you can maintain above key levels. Now for gold, really, you like to see daily candle break above, hold above for this next leg towards the upside. That's what we have for gold coming into today. As for everything else, let's see what's shaping up here now on the markets. So yeah, for the overall indices coming into today, Let's kind of just go over my game plan coming to market open. So for SPY and Qs, we are opening up inside the middle of the range, in between really this 679 along with this 673. In between this level, I don't think there's going to be a clear direction. As you can see here, we don't have a clear direction, but there's some nice opportunities off these levels. So similar game plan as yesterday, right? Potential bounce play off this level, or like the fade off your 679 is in play. So those are the levels that we have marked out on the SPY coming into today. Qs, similar thesis, just kind of mark out this general area. I don't expect a super clear direction in between this level, but there's still some trading opportunities around 607 along with their 612. So keep that in mind here for the SPY and Qs coming into today. We're going to be a little bit more cautious with it being a Friday. Quad witching here as well. Tesla, not too much to talk about. Break above your 488 for a potential push higher. If we reject, we're just going to come right back in between the middle of the range. As for the rest of the names, yeah, just a lot of consolidation right in the middle. There really hasn't been too much now after Tesla hit its all-time highs. A lot of these names, a lot of the nicer moves have honestly been on the major indices themselves. Since there's still been a decent amount of volatility, not really too much on the tech side, but at least on the indices themselves. So you can look to trade those if there's any opportunity. But besides that, yeah, there's not too many higher time frame breakouts on the tech side and on some of these other high beta names. Besides that, I'm just going to keep an eye out on Tesla coming into today. And then really now, I'm just going to keep an eye out on the SPY and Qs, which is right 612 along with our 607. And then, yeah, for the rest of the names, you can see just mark out the key levels that we have drawn out on AVGO, like Oracle, all these ones, similar thesis, right? Oracle had some news. Key level is just going to be now your 190s, even Palantir. A lot more consolidation, but Palantir has to break above your 187 for me to be interested. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. I am going to get ready for market open here now. If you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that of course in the description below. I will be traveling next week. I'll still be on for the pre-market preps. So keep that in mind. We do have holiday season as well, so it is going to be lower volume, but as I mentioned, I'll still be online. But if there's any kind of week to take off or 2 weeks to take off on the markets, it's honestly during this holiday season, right? Spend some time with your friends and family, right? Have a good holiday season, right? It's going to be lower volume. I don't expect too much in the markets, but if I do see anything, I'll let you guys know. And I will see you guys all next week. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the weekend and enjoy your holidays. All right. Peace.